11 pro tips for you Airbnb hosts on how to run your Airbnb business during a crisis. Let's go. Welcome back, Airbnb family. Yes, an odd number because these are odd times for Airbnb hosts everywhere. Everyone's losing money, just absolutely everybody. It's not any one specific industry. I think like the only industry to like go up right now is like medical and on-demand TV and Zoom. Zoom stock is up, so if you want a teleconference, now's the time to teleconference. Go Zoom, good on you. But for the rest of us who's losing money in this market, we need solutions. These 11 tips will help you start making money or at least lose less money during this pandemic, so that way you'll come out in better condition on the other end of this. Because, of course, we can't get perfect right now, but we can still do good. So before we jump into the video, like the video and subscribe if you're new. This is where you come to fight the good fight. Airbnb, hell or high water, no matter what, here we go. Number one, pick up the phone, call your current guests and ask if they'd like to extend their reservation. We're actually getting people who are extending 2 weeks, a month, 2 months at a time because they were here for business. Now they can't go back home because of like the shelter order and other laws that are in place with other cities, other states. So there's people who are gonna be stuck here in my 4 cities that I do business in the United States. So coming through this, we're at this tipping point where we've lost a lot of reservations, but the ones that we do have, we might be able to extend those even more then because they can't go home. So what goes down must ultimately come up in a way, and there's this unique opportunity here. So contact all of your current guests, try to retain them for longer. You can even contact past guests that are in town frequently for business in your city, ask them if they plan on coming into town for business or if they are there and they, of course, need their favorite Airbnb to stay in. Number 2, you need to lower your internal costs. We have not yet laid off a single person. Our housekeepers are vital, our customer service staff are vital. There's a cost of losing people. Rehiring good people costs money, so our lifetime cost, losing the people that run our business, is more expensive than cutting other costs. So when I say control your costs, I don't mean lay off people. Like Sonder and Lyric, they've laid off like a third of their staff. Maybe they suck at what they do and they don't care about their best employees, or maybe they didn't have best employees. They probably had a lot of non-essential employees. Sonder had half of their staff as engineers. That's definitely not essential to housing. So when controlling your costs, I want to look at other costs here. So like I've told you guys before in a previous video, if you hire a third-party cleaning company that charges you an arm and a leg to clean your home, start cleaning yourself. Lower your internal costs by cleaning your own homes. And if you can, I would start sharing housekeepers with other hosts so you can pay that housekeeper by the hour. You want to lower your internal cleaning costs, where our cleaning costs on average are like $23 on average between our 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. We pay on average $23 per turnover because we pay our cleaners by the hour. And this allows us to be much more competitive in the space and just more sturdy because we're giving less of our total revenue away to that incremental cost of housekeeping. There's other ways to control your costs. So if you want to like shed a few of your streaming services, like shed Hulu and shed like not necessarily just like cut down on how many Netflix accounts you have. You can have 1 account per 20 TVs. You can have 1 Amazon Prime account for like 40 TVs. So just shore up some of your like streaming services, go back in your bank account and see if you have unnecessary subscriptions to things that you thought would help you manage your business that aren't essential at this moment in time. And so cut out those costs so you can keep your employees if you have them, because that's the last cost you ever want to cut is your good staff. 3, use the fact that you are more lean in your cost structure to be more aggressive in your price structure. We are 84 to 87% occupied on average over the last 2 weeks, where the rest of the market is like 43% occupied in all 4 cities that we're in. And the reason why is we've been much more aggressive pricing our listings. So we are going down to $75, $70, in Houston even $55, and that includes our cleaning costs. But people will book 4 days for $210, and we have that one-time cleaning fee. Even in your situation, if you pay $50 to clean a 1 bedroom, there's still $155 left over those 4 days that can go towards your other costs. So we do get a lot of nightlies, but we're still getting 2-day, 3-day, 4-day long stays at that $55 a night or at $70 a night. Lower your internal costs so that way you can lower your price point, because every single dollar that you can put towards your rent right now or towards your mortgage is vital. So even if you're only clearing $20 or $30 past your cleaning costs any night of the week, that is still $30 that you get to put towards your mortgage. You do that 20 nights of the month, that's still $600 you could put towards your mortgage. And hopefully the other 10 nights, you can actually get a more fair price, because you shouldn't have to slash your rate on all of your nights, just on your last minute prices. But be prepared to drop it, because every single dollar right now matters. It's a mad grab for cash, and it's a desert out there. Number 4, go multi-platform. This isn't going to necessarily give you immediate results. We're going to do a couple videos here in the very near future where I'm going to start creating other listings on other platforms so you can see how we do it. But by going multi-platform, you get more total visibility. You're going to see that views are down right now on Airbnb. If you go to your performance tab, your normal views per month might be like 30 to 50, where you're seeing now like 13 to 15 views. And that's really bad per listing. So since there's kind of a drought for attention, you need to have more impressions on more platforms. More total views means more total conversion. Number 5, go direct. So don't just go multi-platform, but have a plan to go direct. Craigslist, Facebook marketplaces. We just previously did a video where I'm calling businesses, trying to sell them my Airbnb properties, and that's going really, really well. See, there are people like travel nurses that are going to be coming to work. There's people coming out of retirement in the medical field to help with this pandemic. So there's going to be an influx of medical workers coming to bigger cities to handle what could be like a flood of sick people. And because of this, you can house those people at a very fair price to them, because hotels are expensive. Hotels are expensive, and you're just trying to cover your mortgage and your rent and like a little bit of money during this pandemic. That's great. That'll actually give you a mutual exchange between somebody who needs a fair price, where hotels would never go that low, but you can, and everybody wins at this point. There's an opportunity here, because as hotels are shutting down for 6 or 12 months or 18 months, that might actually reintroduce more people into the market. So keep your head up. But number 5, go direct, because there's actually less fat in the deal, because Airbnb charges 11%, Booking.com charges 18%. So you can lower your rates to something fair, and everybody can win in that exchange. 6, network with your hosts all over the world. Because what's happening right now is I've got a group on Facebook where people are like, hey, I need a home in Houston. I have a 2-bedroom, here's their budget. Somebody's like, I need something in Florida. I need something in San Diego. And so if you hosts can share your network with each other as you try to get direct bookings, you can give and take with them. And you can get bookings from other hosts who just don't have a market where you are. And so hosts looking out for each other here is a great way to get referral bookings. So referrals could very well accommodate a couple. If you even just get a couple of your listings filled up for like a couple months because of referrals, that of course is the difference between losing money on 2 properties or not losing money on 2 properties. So it may not seem like it would pan out necessarily, because you may not be like in a high touch market where there's a lot of activity or requests, but the more hosts that you're networked with, the greater the opportunity that you could get a referral. And you know what? It doesn't hurt to ask. So if you're seeking referrals, give value to your host community, but actively say, this is what I'm seeking. Can anybody help me? Don't be afraid to ask for referrals from your network. 7, get creative. Try every random cockamamie idea. 7, get creative. 7, get creative. Try every idea you come across. I don't care if you think it's voodoo or not, just try it. So this helps when you've networked with hosts, because hosts talk about what is working. I shared a video where we introduced somebody from the UK who's got like 4 big tips for people in the UK. I share a lot of stuff of what's working in the United States. I also shared a link in the Facebook group of how Airbnb is going to help medical professionals stay in Italy to help, where Airbnb is going to cover the cost of those homes and the hosts will actually still get paid. So there are solutions country by country here, and there will be hosts in all of these countries pretty much leading the charge. And so you want to make sure that your network of hosts can give you relevant and smart information. So there's the Hosts of Airbnb Automated Facebook group. Airbnb's Finest Hosts is another group that I'm on. There's tons of them out there. So get in local ones. Like there's Houston hosts. There's a Philadelphia host group that I'm involved in. So get involved on the local level and the world level, because people are sharing best practices and they're working. We've had to solve problems where people under the age of 25 can't book because Airbnb's got like an anti-party algorithm now. We're sharing information of, are they giving refunds to people after April 14th, even though the extenuating circumstances before April 14th? There's been a couple false alarms that we've been able to debug. It's just, there's a lot going on. And so getting new information on the fly so you can adjust is important, and your network is going to give you that information. 8, start taking long-term guests. Taking long-term guests, like month-to-month furnished or longer than multi-month furnished, is a way to remove your exposure from the market. It's kind of, in a way, de-risking your portfolio. See, you've intended your portfolio to be by the night or by the week, and you still want the opportunity to have an upside on this, but right now there's such little attention or such little demand for nightly rentals that if you can take a part of your portfolio and put it easily into the long-term market, you can buy yourself some time. See, you've bet on short-term rental being your upside, and now things are not going according to plan, are they? No, we're all losing money in the short-term rental side in majority. Some of us are still like eking out a bit of a profit, which is good. But right now, since things are not going according to plan, this is when you should cover your tracks and take some of your inventory off the market. And thankfully, there's a way to do that by putting people into the long-term space. If you give somebody a 4-month or 6-month long lease above your rent costs plus utilities, or even at a 10% loss, you've controlled how much you're going to lose exactly over the next 4 or 6 months. And I'm sure you can find a way to cover that small loss. So that way 4 months from now, 6 months from now, when this is recovered, you can put that back in the market and just instantly flip it back on to a short-term rental. Instead of shutting it down completely and moving out and then trying to move back into a space, there's less total loss giving somebody a long-term at a very small loss. Because lease breakage fees, cost of moving furniture, all that kind of stuff is a much bigger cost than losing, say, $100 a month for 6 months. You see what I mean? So go long-term on a percentage of your portfolio as a way to kind of deleverage your portfolio, and that'll help you kind of calm down and kind of get back to doing what works. 9, plan for self-quarantine, plan for medical professionals, which means you're going to have to possibly pony up on some stuff that you don't have, mainly ozone machines, viricides, stuff like that. So what we're doing for self-quarantine or medical professionals is we've got ozone machines, and you should have them be high output ozone machines. There's tons on Amazon, and they're rated on how many micrograms per hour of ozone they can put out, 3,000, 5, 7, 10. On Amazon, the biggest I've found at a fair price point is a 10,000 microgram per hour ozone machine. I'll put that in the description. We're going to leave these available in our apartments. So when somebody leaves a home, like a medical professional or somebody in self-quarantine, we're going to give them instruction on how to use it. Essentially, they're by the front door. We'll have them they can plug them in, and then they can turn them on and leave. And you want to leave these ozone machines running for 3-4 hours before you send a housekeeper in behind them to clean. So what happens is these ozone machines make O3, which breaks down into an oxygen molecule, O2, and an oxygen atom, O, and when they split off, what they'll do is they'll actually damage any living thing, bacteria, viruses, fungus, and they just destroy stuff, which is super, super cool. And ozone machines have been proven to kill viruses, and they've been used to combat the coronavirus and other like viruses. And I will leave information in the description. There's actually an organization in China that actually talked about the efficacy of ozone against coronavirus specifically, and I'll get that in the description. So if you treat people who are self-quarantining or medical professionals, all you want to do is you're going to want to allow them to stay for 2 weeks or longer, and you're going to have a buffer day. When they leave, you allow there to be a day before the next check-in. And right now, people are at 14 or 15% occupancy. I will not bat an eyelash on shutting my Airbnb down for 24 hours after somebody leaves after a 2-week stay. I doubt that you'll have a problem with that either, right? So if you can have the appropriate equipment, then you can sell that confidence to someone that you have a protocol for when somebody is done self-quarantining, sick or not, that these ozone machines will sterilize the environment before the housekeeper even goes in to start cleaning. Your housekeepers will be safe, and the next guest will be safe, and you can do that with confidence. 10, renegotiate terms with your landlord or with your bank. A lot of banks are offering abatements on mortgages or forbearance on mortgages, 3 months to 12 months where you don't have to pay your mortgage. Those will accrue interest, I'm pretty sure, so they still make your mortgage more expensive. Follow Sean Ray's channel for mortgages. Let me just say that. Right, word on the street. I think he just did a video on this. Yeah, he's listening. He just laughed. It's true. So for rents, so for rent payments, you could renegotiate with your landlord and say, hey, everybody's losing here. Last thing you want is for our company to have to downsize, because we won't go out of business, but we'll have to strategically cut leases if we get smaller. So an alternative is, let me either get half of rent for a few months, or let me get a rent credit for a couple months. We will either take that as a mutual loss, or we can do an abatement where I defer the rent and I pay you like 6 months from now, I reintroduce that rent that I owe you down the road. Still kick it to you down the road. So by negotiating a creative finance for your leases, you can like handle the cash constriction you're going through right now and just like knock it down the road. And that's a great way to handle it. You know what? Your landlord might be afraid that they won't be able to evict you because a lot of cities are like staying off evictions. I think they're calling a moratorium of eviction. And so he doesn't want to like disagree with you because then he's going to have to try to evict you anyway. So keeping this mutual is good. And you know what? The landlords are small business owners just like you. You guys share something in common, which is you guys have taken a risk to make a profit, and you both can sit on the same side of the table in this pandemic and realize that you guys want the best for each other. You guys are a partnership here. So let's, as a team, find a way through it. Especially if this person's able to have like a forbearance on his loan. What you could do is say, hey, if you take a forbearance on your mortgage, what I'll do is I'll pay the extra interest that you owe on your mortgage payment, and I'll still pay you a 10% of my rent premium, but I won't pay you rent these 3 months. You won't pay your mortgage these 3 months, but I'll still pay you the tax interest in your mortgage and the rent, not the rent, but the interest that you'd still be owed from the accrued rent, plus a 10% rent premium. So if your rent's $2,000, you agree to pay $200 plus whatever the tax amount is in his mortgage, plus whatever the accrued interest is. And you might end up walking away with like a $900 payment, $1,100 payment or something like that per month. But this person still got to lock away their mortgage for 3 months, and they suffered $0 of loss. They actually still got a 10% premium from you. So they still made a little bit of cash flow above and beyond what their mortgage would have been anyway. So that way you both get to win. Now, because forbearance is something that many people with mortgages are going to take advantage of, but you can help them hedge out the loss associated with the forbearance. Win-win. Number 11, understand that things are changing by the day, by the hour. Understand that you've gotten here because you're smart, you're tenacious, you're strong, you've been able to adapt so far. This will not put you down, but what you need to do is stay in the fight. Do not give up. Stay focused. Keep your eyes on information. Like I said, talk to hosts to see what they're doing that's working, but look for new information, look for new variables. You don't want to get put down because you didn't see something coming. So keep your eyes wide open, head on a swivel. This is a new time for everybody. And I highly encourage you, if you're the first person to get information on something, you're the first person to figure something out, go to your host community and share it with them because you want them to do the same thing for you. We need to get through this together because we are all in the market together. And if we collectively fail as a short-term rental machine, it's going to affect our future business. We might get more customers for a little while because a lot of people went out of business, but that constriction where the supply leaves the market will also have an effect on quality overall. And we really want to preserve what is now our business. Sure, there was a software that made this easy for us to get into, but we are the sticky players in the game now. We're the ones holding the assets and the homes. A software, it may come and go, but we need to stay in the game. So thank you for watching Airbnb Automated, and I'll see you on the other side.